Hello guys and welcome. Over a month ago I started playing Final Fantasy XIV for the first time, and I promised you guys that I would be back like some weeks later with a feedback on my conclusion, my thoughts on Final Fantasy XIV. And I finished now a few days ago Realm Reborn, and I have to say this was really a blast, this story. At first I was not sure if I was going to enjoy Final Fantasy XIV because there's like a lot of story and so many cinematics and cutscenes that progressing at first felt a bit slow because I always had to like read through stuff, and like everyone said, Marcel, don't skip. And at first it was like all new to me and I felt like, I want to skip. Because in other MMO games that I was playing, for example World of Warcraft and even like Elder Scrolls Online, you get like such huge chunks of text, especially in WoW. And what I'm like used to this, like I just check the objective and then I click accept quest and stuff. And there are not so many cinematics. In Elder Scrolls Online there are like more cinematics, and I was like a little bit used to it but not that much. And as I actually progressed through the story in Final Fantasy XIV, I came to like really love the story and get really attached to the world around me and the characters. What really surprised me, this reminded me a lot of my childhood, because I used to be addicted to like adventure games and games like Zelda, for example. There I would always like learn more about the characters and stuff, and that's like the old me. And I feel like the old me has come back to life from playing Final Fantasy XIV, as funny as it sounds like. But there's one thing that confuses me a lot in Final Fantasy XIV, and that's a good thing but at the same time a bad thing to me, and that's the insane freedom when it comes to freaking classes, aka jobs. Because I sometimes have days where I log into the game and I look at my character and I have like those 3 jobs leveled and they're all like around level 50, and I'm like, which job should I pick? Should I pick today's scholar? Should I pick samurai? Should I go for ninja? And oh sorry, it's 4, right? Because summoner is also with scholar. Or should I pick a summoner? So I have like those 4 jobs that I can play that are around the same level, and I'm like, what should I play today? It's like kind of like sometimes you like switch around and you not get really deep into one job, but that's probably just me trying out stuff to learn more about the game. But eventually I will also pick a main job. But yeah, like one thing shocked me a lot. So some of you have probably seen this video that I uploaded like a few days ago of me beating ARR. And there were like some moments where I almost like freaking cried. Like there was like parts of the stories that would like touch me and go under my skin. Usually I'm not someone that cries when like playing video games or get like emotional or like super angry or excited. I only get angry if I freaking wipe or like mess up, or maybe sometimes in PvP. But from a story to get like upset or emotional or to cry, like that's so freaking new to me. And yesterday I also experienced for the first time a seasonal event in Final Fantasy XIV. So I did the, what is it called? I think Moonfire Fair or something. And I got like a new mount, a freaking ice bear that has like this animation where like ice is being cast down upon us. And like I think it's so fun that you have like so many also like mini events and mini games. So I went to like the Gold Saucer. Like there was this one quest I picked up by accident in Ul'dah. I didn't know what it was because you told me in the comment section, hey, go for all those blue quests. So I always picked up blue quests. I locked several dungeons. I unlocked the freaking barber so I can like change my hairstyle and stuff in game. And I ended up at the Gold Saucer, and it's like a freaking casino. And there's like parkour and stuff where you can like jump up. You have like those machines you can play like with cards, and there's even chocobo racing. I haven't tried it yet, but it's actually crazy to see how many like mini games are also there in Final Fantasy XIV. Because I didn't expect there to be so many like side thingies, right? Like mini games and stuff. And I think they're actually really fun. It's really cool that you have like different aspects of the game. And I see a lot of role players for some reason, especially in Limsa Lominsa, and people that are also, some have this like RP sign next to their name. I saw actually like a couple, this was like a male hero and a female aura, and they were like taking a bath or something together with like RP. I'm like, what the heck is happening here in Final Fantasy XIV? And I'm so freaking overwhelmed also by like the whole world, because we have freaking chainmail armor, we have swords, we have shields, we have bows, we have like medieval structures, we have like primitive clothing, And then suddenly you have freaking like jeans, you have freaking sneakers, you have cyborgs, you have guns, you have flying machines, you have freaking LED lamps in like imperial bases and stuff, and you have alarms, and I'm like, what is happening here? Are we in medieval times? Are we like in our time era with freaking like Air Force One sneakers or something? And then we have like the stuff from the future, like cyborgs, freaking high-tech guns and stuff. Like, I was at first overwhelmed, also when I saw like those cyborgs and cars flying around, but now I really got like used to it. And to be honest, I haven't played that many Final Fantasy games. I did play one, if I'm not mistaken. This was Final Fantasy VII on PlayStation. Was it PlayStation 2 or 3? I'm not sure. No, I think it was on 2. And that was like the only Final Fantasy game I ever played. Only like one. And yeah, so I'm not used to this world probably, because I haven't played too much of the franchise. But now I understand more also about the background of this game, like the story, how there's like technology and there's like this medieval sort of part, right? And I'm really looking forward to Heavensward. I was told the further I get into the story, the better it gets. And this excites me even more because I already thought like the Realm Reborn story is really, really great. And also like the roles of the characters, like I think Minfilia is a very interesting character. I love her backstory and how she was raised by her stepmom and like there like a lot of characters have interesting backstories. And Thancred, how he used to be a rogue and stuff, and he used to be like an outlaw or something, and then he became like a good guy, and how he knows some martial arts like a freaking ninja and stuff, can like spin around with like daggers and stuff. And there are also a lot of beautiful zones. You have like those zones that are like freaking deserts and wastelands. Then you have like this zone where there are like those glowing crystals. You have like very, very cold regions with snow. Like the world seems really big, and I've only seen like a portion of this world here. There's still so much more I have to explore. I saw a bunch of screenshots. I checked out a few trailers and stuff. And I've seen there are like even more climate zones and more interesting zones. And I love one thing a lot about Final Fantasy XIV when it comes to like raids and dungeons. I'm used to a freaking damage meter. In all MMOs I've played, I had a damage meter, and I would like see in my group how much DPS was I doing, what was my output. And I always wanted to be either first or at least second to not look bad, right? So I was like really trying hard in all MMO games that I was playing so far. But in Final Fantasy XIV, when I realized and heard and saw that like add-ons are like not allowed, or at least you shouldn't in public show them, I ended up like not seeing my damage output, and I still did really, really fine. And I saw that the people are less toxic in groups. Like, I actually hate group finder a lot in MMO games. Usually I will go with my friend in dungeons, because I often encounter very toxic people, especially in World of Warcraft. Like, if I don't do a mistake, someone in the group does a mistake, and they will ask me, kick this person, or they will start arguing with each other, and I have to play their freaking parent, or mom, or dad, or whatever, or both. And I have to like stop the arguments always when I'm in like a group finder, or in WoW, or even like in ESO. Like if I like randomly in a city and I end up grouping with people, like I always have to be the one to solve arguments, or I have to like look for replacements if we kick someone. And this was like so annoying in MMO games. But in Final Fantasy XIV, everyone is like willing to learn, nobody's toxic, nobody's cancerous, and I feel like it's actually not too difficult to carry someone in Final Fantasy XIV. Like, I did a raid, and this was, I think this was Odin, yeah, this was Odin, and I was on my Scholar as a healer, and this is like my fifth run as a healer in like a dungeon or trial. And the healer, they had like another healer that was a white mage. He disconnected at the early phase of this trial. So I was like the only healer, and I had to heal a whole raid through by myself as a scholar. And this was like my 5th run as a scholar, as a big scholar healer noob. And I managed to actually carry my group. And when like 1 or 2 people died, I would just swift cast resurrect them and stuff. And I feel like making mistakes in Final Fantasy XIV is a bit more forgiving than in other MMO games, because not only do you have like swift cast and you can like resurrect people, but also because of like how some mechanics work. Because I've seen there like sometimes mechanics where you have like 3 seconds or 4 seconds to breathe in and out, and in this phase you can actually raise people. In like other games, like ESO for example, everything seems to be quite fast paced, that if someone like dies and you have to like rest them, or someone messes up too much, like the whole group is gonna suffer tremendously, like really a lot. And from the dungeons that I did so far in Final Fantasy XIV, if one person messes up, there's still a way to beat this. Or if you lose 1-2 members, you can still do enough DPS to clear this. Because there was like one dungeon and we lost like 1 DPS, and I was also on my DPS, so I was like the only DPS in this dungeon, and for some reason the healer didn't raise the other one. And just with me as a DPS and our tank and the healer, we managed to defeat a boss. So yeah, maybe it gets more difficult the further I get in the story, but it has been a great journey so far, and I ended up buying the game and subscribing to the game. What I actually didn't expect, I thought I would just do like the free trial, give my feedback, and then I would play another game. But I'm actually sticking around for Final Fantasy XIV because I really got attached to it. I love my freaking character. I have like a lot of achievements that I want to farm, especially Glamour, because you know Glamour is the true end game, right? And so many mounts. And I'm positively surprised by how many dungeons we have, that you are scaling with the dungeon, so even the early game dungeons are viable. And for fun, I did like a run with my FC on, was it like the second dungeon that you unlock? And we had like 1% of my FC, like the tank, almost die. In a second dungeon you get in this game. And this is actually funny, because you don't expect the end game player that has the best gear to almost die to like a mob. But this happened almost, and this is like so cool. I wish actually in World of Warcraft they had it, where you scale with the dungeons and you can go like to older expansions, like let's say Cataclysm or Legion for example, and there you can re-experience the dungeon or bring a new player to the dungeon that just started World of Warcraft. Because Final Fantasy XIV, in my opinion, is very new player friendly because of the scaling. Because it doesn't separate you from the rest of the community. Because other MMO games have this big separation going on, where if you're a certain level, you only get to play with people on a certain level. So you have like your own sort of bubble, right? And the low level players, they all stick together. But in Final Fantasy XIV, it's not like that. Everyone can like play together. It was a very positive experience. I rate the story a 10 out of 10. It's very good, very deep. The only thing that does annoy me is how some quests have like certain parts of the dialogue that are spoken, and there's like a voice actor or actress for that, but some parts are purely text. And that feels so weird, because you have this one moment you talk to an NPC, there's like 1 or 2 dialogues that are read out, then you click on your mouse to go to the next part, and then suddenly nobody's speaking and you have to read it. This does feel a bit weird. I'm not sure if this will be in the latest expansions as well, but it's so strange if you have like this half-half thingy, right? At least to me. And I really appreciate also the freedom I have in this game when it comes to classes. Like I mentioned earlier, it's confusing because you don't know what to play. But if you're really unhappy with something, or you want to switch from a caster to a melee, you can do that. In World of Warcraft or Elder Scrolls Online, I have to regrind a whole character, and the issue there is, especially in ESO, like the mounts, the mount speed, like those points and all that, you have to invest into that again. But in World of Warcraft, the achievements are luckily shared, but you have to grind renown and stuff, and that's behind our weekly cap, which is very annoying. I hope they fix it one day in WoW, but not sure about that. But yeah, I will continue playing Final Fantasy XIV, and to the new players out there, you can really check out Final Fantasy XIV. It has a huge free trial. You can level to level 60. You have 2 expansions in it. You have like the base game, A Realm Reborn, sorry, not expansion, the base game, and you have Heavensward included. So I think it's really worth trying, especially because you can play it for free. It's very free to play friendly. And I think the price for the subscription isn't that high. I think I paid about, what was it, like 35 euros and some cents, and I get like 90 days of playtime, what is actually quite a good price. I would have expected it to be like maybe 50 euros or so, but it's good. It's a good price, I think. It's not too far from World of Warcraft, and wow, I can't wait to do the other expansions. I'm so curious about the world and the rest of it. And yeah, if you guys are new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content. And I would also really appreciate if you like this video. This help up with the YouTube algorithm. I wish everyone a wonderful day, and I will see you guys next time.